Hello there YouTube and welcome to my latest Skyrim build, the Winter Warrior. This is an ice-themed build, and to make matters even more fitting, I'm writing and recording this on a day where I've been trapped at home by snow. If you're looking to skip ahead to any particular section of this video, then there will be timestamps in the description, along with a link that allows you to become a sponsor for the channel if you want to support me with a monthly donation and help keep these builds coming. Legend speaks of a Northman made entirely of ice, a frozen protector of the land who would claim the lives of those who sought to threaten his snow-covered realm. This creature was no hero though. Just like the icy weather, it would claim the life of anyone who faced it unprepared. Very few people still believe this legend. The cold itself was enough for the Nords of Skyrim to worry about, without adding on some supernatural threat. Not everyone disregarded the myth so easily though. There were some out there who not only believed in the tale, but sought to show others that it was true. One Nord in particular has some kind of zealous devotion to the idea of this legend, going so far as to renounce his past life and take up the mantle of the Winter Warrior. He spent years training to help recreate the figure as true as he could. He became a master of ice magic, and was almost immune to the cold himself, able to walk through blizzards without blinking an eye. In the end though, all this preparation seemed to amount to nothing. He was captured by the Thalmor and tortured for weeks without explanation. When he was finally released, it was into the hands of the Empire. He was too weak to fight against them, and simply accepted his fate, letting the cart take him to his new life. The main skills of a build are enchanting, smithing, and destruction. You'll want to invest heavily into enchanting with this build. I went up the middle tree to reach extra effect, and also went up the left hand side to reach Frost Enchanter. This is the most important skill of the entire build, so make sure you're leveling it as quickly as you can. In smithing, you'll want to head up the right hand side of a tree in order to get the Ebony Smithing perk. This allows you to double the improvements you make to your weapons and armour. Destruction is the main offensive skill of the build. In this tree, the priority is getting the frost focus perks in order to increase your damage. Deep Freeze in particular is a really fun perk to have, ensuring that weak enemies will never be a threat to you. Additionally, you will want to get the Destruction dual casting perk in order to dual cast all of your spells. The additional skills of a build are Heavy Armour and Two-Handed. When combined with smithing, the Heavy Armour tree will help ensure you reach the armour cap and become as unstoppable as a blizzard. Two-Handed increases your up-close damage. I didn't have to use my warhammer too often, but when I did, it dealt some real damage, ensuring anyone who got too close to me ended up dead. Depending on how high a level you go with this build, you may also end up wanting to invest some perks into Conjuration. If you do so, I recommend focusing on going up the left hand side of the tree to make your Frost Action Arc even stronger. As a stats spread for this build, you need to ensure you have enough magicka to summon your Frost Action Arc. After that though, you should be able to go all out on health. Early on you'll also need a decent supply of magicka for your destruction spells, but once the build is done, this won't be an issue. When I was playing this build, I used the Action Arc Stone. However, this isn't a required part of the build. The extra magicka and defense against mages is useful, but due to it being spell absorption, there's also a chance you fail to cast your action arc, which can be frustrating. The main power of this build is the Ice Form Shout. I feel that this is one of the best shouts in the game, letting you freeze any enemies in front of you, taking them out of a fight and letting you deal with groups of enemies one at a time. In addition to this though, you can also use Frost Breath. However, the damage on this isn't anything spectacular. The weapon for this build is a Stalhrim warhammer. This will deal a huge amount of damage once improved and enchanted. For enchantments, you will want to add on frost damage and chaos damage. Combine this with all the relevant perks in destruction and enchanting, and you should find yourself dealing over 100 points of extra damage when you land a hit with this weapon. The armour for this build is a full suit of Stalhrim Heavy Armour, along with a ring and necklace. As enchantments, you want the ring, necklace, armour and helmet to all have Fortified Destruction, in order to enable you to cast destruction spells for free. The next highest priority would be Fortified Two-Handed to make your warhammer stronger. Once you've got both of them, you're somewhat down to your own choices. Resist Frost is great for role-playing and ensuring ice-based attacks do virtually nothing to you, and Fortify Health makes you even tougher. I did consider going with the Frost-based Dragon Priest Mask, Dukan. However, I went against it in the end, as it prevents you from achieving 0% destruction cost reduction, and I preferred the look with the full stalhrim set. If you so wish though, you can use this as an alternative to the standard helm. This build isn't really all that well suited to joining any factions. However, you will need to progress the main story far enough to get shouts if you want Iceform in your arsenal. If you really wanted some factions to join though, you could probably justify joining the Stormcloaks to get revenge against the Falmor, and also the College of Winterhold to learn more about ice magic. This build will use no followers. The character feels a lot better travelling alone, and also your main spell can quite easily kill friendlies, so a follower may not last long anyway. You do have the option of summoning a Frost Atronach with this character though, which provides you with a suitable temporary companion whenever you need some backup. The Winter Warrior is a dual destruction mage who uses a warhammer to finish off his foes. Early on in the build, you will likely find yourself as more of a two-handed warrior who has some range potential with destruction magic, but by the end of it, you will have switched to magic being your main attack most of the time. The primary spell of this build is Ice Storm, which is one of the best destruction spells in the game. It's an area of effect moving projectile that damages and slows enemies, but its real value comes from the fact that it can pass through solid matter. Position yourself behind cover and you can still deal a ton of damage to anyone on the other side. This makes this build insanely powerful, as it's very easy to keep yourself safe while still being a real threat to the enemy. In most engagements you want to start by dual casting Frostcloak, and then summoning yourself a Frost Atronach. Once you've done that, start bombarding the enemy with Ice Storm, and switch to your Warhammer if anyone gets within swinging range. If worst comes to worst, you can always use your Iceform Shout to incapacitate enemies in front of you. So that was my ice-based build, the Winter Warrior. I hope everyone is enjoying the winter weather taking place in real life, and having fun in Skyrim's cold lands if not. If you enjoyed this build and want to see more like it in the future, don't forget to leave a like on the video, and consider sharing it too, as this really does help the channel to grow. Speaking of which, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more Skyrim builds, and take a look on the channel for even more interesting and entertaining videos.